Hello everyone, and welcome to what is hopefully the start of a new series of videos that I'll be making. These videos will go into the basics of what you need to know in order to join a normal trial group. The goal is for you to be able to head over to Cracklorn or the group finder, join a group, and be able to keep up with the group. In this video, we'll cover each role, chest locations, and we'll also cover add-ons that can help with this trial. Today we'll be starting off with Sunspire. If you're only looking for a specific role, or are just here for the chest locations or add-ons, feel free to skip to the timestamps currently shown on screen. As with most trials, tanks will have the biggest responsibility as they have to actually care about the ad pools. Do note that there are a lot of ways to handle them, but this is the way that I prefer to do them. So let's go over them. First of all, in perks, you'll usually only have one tank. However, it's not unheard of to have two tanks on normal. In that case, you'll just have to coordinate who takes which, or just run in and hope for the best. The latter works surprisingly well in normal. The first ad pull consists of 3 stages. For the first stage, pull both big cats and hold them roughly around the center like so. Use the chain ability to chain in some of the small stuff whenever you're comfortable. The second stage will consist of 2 melee ads and a mage ad. You want to taunt the 2 melee ads and run over to the mage. Then the melees will stand near the mage and stay there until they are defeated. The third stage consists of 2 big cats, one from either side, and a 2-handed cat in the center. The ones on the sides are a bit buggy and normal, and they can get stuck, so make sure to go over and attack them in case they do. Whenever you have them all, keep them in the center and try to not spin the 2-hander around, as it has a very dangerous cleave. The next pull is another 3-stage pull, with the first stage being a lonely ice cat and some small ads. Bring it to the position currently shown on screen. This will roughly be where you stay for the entire trash pull. The second stage consists of a mage, a 2-hander, and 2 big cats. Taunt the 2-hander and the big cat so that they come over to the mage, and remember to keep the 2-hander still so that it doesn't cleave into the group. The third stage consists of 2 mages, another 2-hander, and 2 more big cats. Taunt both big cats, then the 2-hander, then stack them on one of the mages. A bit up ahead is a very simple pull with one single big cat and some small ads. Simply face the big cat to a wall and chain in some small ads if you're able to. The last pull before the first boss is a slightly more difficult one, consisting of 2 big cats, 2 2-handers and a mage. In this clip I miss one of the 2-handers, but the idea remains the same. You want to grab as much as you can and stack it on the mage. Don't try to chain, you'll want the resources. At this point we'll be going over to the first boss. As a tank you want to make sure to stand on the left side, making sure to not go past the wing, at the risk of getting wing slapped. The boss itself doesn't do all that much. It has a light attack and it has an ice breath. We don't really care about the light attack, but you want to make sure to block the ice breath. The ice breath is indicated by him raising his head slightly while looking down. If he raises his head a lot, it indicates a mechanic that we don't care about on normal. This clip shows the difference. After losing a certain percentage of his health, he'll fly up, summoning Storm and Frost Atronachs in the process. Smaller sets of Atronachs can also spawn while he's on the ground if the group doesn't have enough DPS. We don't care about taunting the Storm Atronachs, all we want to do is to taunt the Frost Atronachs. Every time the DDs kill a Storm Atronach, it will leave behind a pool of lightning. Drag the Frost Atronach through this pool to instantly take down about half its health. While flying, the dragon has a bunch of attacks, but as a tank, these can mostly be ignored. Once the dragon lands, the fight will repeat itself until the dragon dies. After the first boss, we have the trash pull that only triggers once you run past the arch. This pull includes 2 2-handers and 2 mages. The easiest way to handle this pull is to grab both 2-handers and stack them on either mage. In this video, you see me run a bit further ahead to stack both mages. This is optional, you can't just put them on one mage. The next ad pull is a fairly small one with 3 big cats. 1 on the right and 2 on the left. Grab them and stack them next to a group of small ads. Try to chain them in if you can. After that, the next ad pull we'll be doing triggers by going down the last set of stairs. This pull includes a bunch of melees that you can't all taunt in time on your own, so we just accept that some are going to get loose. Grab as many as you can and try to taunt the rest of the group members, provided that they don't run away. At this point we have the second boss. Similarly to the first boss, This one has a light attack and a fire breath, but also a heavy attack that is indicated by the yellow sparkles around its head. Make sure to block this and to step out of the fire that it spawns. We will of course still be blocking the fire breath as well. At some point, the dragon will either fly up, or you'll see a group member being pummeled by an iron Atronach. Taunt this iron Atronach, and whenever the dragon flies up, stand on the edge of the arena. From here on out, the DDs will kill the Atronachs. As a tank, you can ignore the fire Atronachs, or you can chain them to the group. Eventually, the dragon will land again, and the fight will repeat itself until the dragon dies. Once the dragon is dead, we're going to do something a bit odd and jump into the oil surrounding the arena, swimming until we die. Once you die, respawn back at the way shrine. This is done to skip a few ad pulls and go straight to the final boss instead. If you want to know about these ad pulls, they'll be covered in a video explaining the vet mechanics at a later date. At this point we'll have the final ad pull, and this one is an interesting trick. Once you enter the room, the NPCs will first have a bunch of dialogue, but eventually they'll spawn 4 ads. You want to taunt all 4 and run back out of the room, hiding just around the corner. This will stack all of them on the entrance. And last of all, we have the final boss. Its attacks include a light attack, a fire breath, and a sweep which the entire group has to block. Additionally, it spawns 3 portals with a green circle around them. We ignore these on normal. The main challenge in this boss lies in the ad pulls when it flies up. The first 2 ad pulls, including the one that opens the fight, consist of a mage and 2 melee ads. Taunt the melees and stack them on the mage. The last 2 ad pulls will add a 2-hander spawning on the left. Make sure to also stack this one. After the boss comes down at 40% health, you will enter what is known as the execute phase. The boss will occasionally summon meteors which track players. When you are targeted by one, make sure to move it out of the group and block it as it lands on you. However, this isn't very important on a tank, since you don't take too much damage from it and the boss doesn't really attack at the same time. And then that's it. At this point you know everything you need in order to head over to Crackdown's own chat or the group finder and join a group without too much trouble. Now it's time to talk about the healers. I won't go into every ad pull, you can watch the tank section for that, but I will point out a few dangers. The main goal is to make sure you're not in front of either the Ice Cat or the 2-handers. The Ice Cat sends out an AoE that puts a lightning AoE on you, dealing damage over time. The 2-hander simply has a very powerful cleave that will likely kill you. You will also likely be the only healer in a pug, which might seem intimidating at first, but as long as you have a decent skill setup with enough heal over time skills, you'll be fine. Not a lot of healing is needed for this trial. There are a few ad pulls where, depending on their experience, the tank might struggle a little bit. Try to give them an Undaunted Orb or Temper Spear synergy if you can. It helps them a lot. Most of your healing can be focused on the group. The tank will not need a lot of healing. That's all you need to know about the trash, so for now let's move on to the bosses. The first boss you'll be fighting is going to be the hardest one. There's simply a lot of different sources of damage, and the DDs usually like to stand in them for some reason. To start off the fight, make sure you're on the right side and don't go past the wing. The tank is often on the left side and you don't want to be behind them when they get the ice breath. While the dragon is on the ground, there's not much to worry about for you, just keep your heals in the group. Once the dragon flies up, the fight gets significantly more chaotic. The dragon will fly over and breathe down on the arena, leaving strips of lightning. DDs like to stand in these, so keep an eye out for them. After the flight phase is over, the dragon will land again and the fight repeats. The tank generally shouldn't need healing, but if you see them struggling, feel free to throw a heal their way. Then we have the second boss. This boss has 2 mechanics that you care about, and again, make sure to stand on the right side. First of all, a random person will get targeted with a small AoE into them that follows them. They will have to stack this with the group to share the damage to not die. If you see someone run away with it, chase them down and stand in the AoE with them, while healing them. Alternatively, just let them die. The second mechanic is when the dragon flies up. You need to make sure to move to the edge of the arena, as he'll breathe fire down on the center. From there on out, the fight repeats itself. Keep an eye on the tank to see if they're struggling, but generally this fight doesn't have a lot going on. Once the dragon is dead, we're going to do something a bit odd and jump into the oil surrounding the arena, swimming until we die. Once you die, respawn back at the way shrine. This is done to skip a few ad pulls and go straight to the final boss instead. If you want to know about these ad pulls, they'll be covered in a video explaining the vet mechanics at a later date. For the last boss, the main danger will be the add pulse in between when he flies up. During this phase, there can be a few loose adds or attacks generally going into the group. Keep your heels near the adds, and if the DDs run away from you, that is their problem. As for mechanics, the boss has an attack where it sweeps his head across the group, either knocking you back or breathing fire. Both can be blocked. The boss will also spawn 3 portals with a green circle around them. These can be ignored on normal. Eventually, when the dragon flies up, adds will spawn. Keep healing close to the adds as mentioned earlier. Once the add phase is done, the dragon will spawn a bunch of AoEs on the ground. Just make sure to keep moving out of these. After the dragon lands, the fight will repeat itself until after he lands at 40%. At this point you'll enter the execute phase. The only thing to make sure of here is that when you get an AoE around you, move out of the group as a meteor is about to land on you. You can block this to prevent being knocked down. And then you're pretty much done. Outside of the first and the last boss, Sunspire is pretty laid back for healers. It's mostly on the tanks to keep everything together. For DDs, just like for healers, I won't go into detail for every add pull. I will just explain what to avoid and what to focus. If you would like to see every add pull, you can take a look at the tank section of this video. The main adds to avoid are the Ice Cat and the Two-Hander. The Ice Cat sends out an AoE that puts a lightning AoE on you, dealing damage over time. The Two-Hander simply has a very powerful cleave that will likely kill you. Additionally, always wait for the tank to pull. Not only is this just common courtesy and nice to do, it ensures that the fight goes smooth for everyone. The main adds to focus are the mages, if there are no mages around. For the bosses, you want to make sure that you are on the right side so that the tank can be on the left. Otherwise there's a decent risk of you dying. Make sure you don't go past the wing at the risk of being wing slapped. Just stay next to the head. The main mechanic that you interact with on the first boss is the fly phase. The dragon will fly up and spawn Storm and Frost Atronachs. Kill the Storm Atronachs first, starting from entrance and going clockwise around. The tank will taunt the Frost Atronachs and hopefully destroy them. If all Storm Atronachs are dead and the Frost Atronachs are not, kill them as well. During these fly phases, the dragon will breathe down on the arena and leave strips of lightning AoEs. Make sure to stay out of these, they have no AoE indicator. Once the dragon lands, the fight repeats itself. On the second boss, there's 2 things to watch out for. The first is while the dragon is on the ground. Someone will get an AoE around them that follows them. They have to stack this with the group to share the damage, so don't run away with the AoE, and don't run away from others that have the AoE. Once the dragon flies up, move to the edge of the arena and kill any Addons that have spawned, prioritizing the small fire ones and then the big iron one. Once the dragon lands, the fight again repeats itself. Once the dragon is dead, we're going to do something a bit odd and jump into the oil surrounding the arena, swimming until we die. Once you die, respawn back at the way shrine. This is done to skip a few add pulls and go straight to the final boss instead. If you want to know about these add pulls, they'll be covered in a video explaining the vet mechanics at a later date. The last boss can be a bit dangerous due to the add pulls, so watch your positioning and be wary if there are any melee adds facing you. Remember to focus the mages. There's not a lot of mechanics on this fight. This boss has an attack where it sweeps its head across the arena, or breathes fire. Both can be blocked. Additionally, during the flight phase there are 3 portals with green circles around them. Ignore these on normal. Nothing changes until the boss lands at 40%. From here on out you're entering the execute phase. The boss will target a few players at a time with meteors. If you're targeted, take them out of the group and block. And that's all you need to know as a DD. A lot of this trial depends on tanks making good ad stacks, so feel free to check out the tank section if you'd like more info on that. As for the loot, all of it is between the first and second boss, so you don't miss out on anything by skipping the last few ad pulls. After doing the first ad pull after the first boss, check the position shown in this video for chests. After the second ad pull, check these positions. And after the last ad pull before the second boss, there can be one more chest on the left side before the ladder. The first and arguably most important add-on is Code's Combat Alerts. It's an add-on that works everywhere in the game, even outside of trials, and alerts you of any important mechanics targeting you. If you'd like to take this a step further and see every attack targeting you, you can also use Crutch Alerts, though this gets overwhelming quite quickly. Additionally, for a lot of the earlier trials, Raid Notifier helps a lot. It announces a lot of mechanics. For Sunspire specifically, it alerts you of commands from the mages. On the first boss, it alerts you of things that don't really matter. On the second boss, it alerts you of the AoE that you need to stack, so that you don't accidentally run away. And on the final boss, it alerts you of both sweep attacks and the meteors. There's also How to Sunspire. This alerts you of a few more things per fight. However, this is mostly aimed towards vet and or hard mode, so it's not too relevant for normal. As this is the first video I'm making, I'm still figuring things out. The quality will improve over time, but thank you all for watching until the end. If you're looking for a social guild to join, you can join our Discord and head over to the Guild Invites channel to ask for an invite. We do multiple normal learning runs a week that you can join in case you need a bit more help. Additionally, you can always come over and ask us if there's something you don't understand. It'll take some time before I have a video out for every trial, but if there's anything specific you're looking for, feel free to let me know. If there's a lot of demand for a specific trial, I'll prioritize that one.